Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Reddit story brought to you by Reddit Rhino. In this video, we've got a story from r/entitled parent where OP talks about an entitled mom that won't watch her kids and they end up climbing into the pasture with OP's horses. Before we get into the story, I just wanna ask you guys to please leave a like on the video, subscribe and comment on what other stories you'd like to hear from Reddit. Now let's get into the story. So I've referenced this story a couple of times to people and decided that I'd tell the full tale. I live in a rural neighborhood, everyone's got 3 to 8 acres so we're all pretty spaced out. I live on 5 acres and my nearest neighbors are a sweet elderly couple about 1 acre from me. They're perfect, the husband does yard work as a hobby and his wife bakes. We have a nice agreement where if I need something big chainsawed he takes the wood down and uses it for the fireplace. And in exchange, I trade recipes and bake with his wife. Honestly, they just like the company. I own my own home, have 2 horses, a cat, and recently my mom has also moved in because she was in financial trouble. I'm happy to help as she's a good company and I'd do anything for her. And then everything changed when coronavirus attacked. So here is where things go south. My neighbor's son and his family, wife, and 2 girls, 4 and 7, live in the nearest city and didn't feel safe. I don't blame them, and because my neighbors are saints they opened their home and the brood moved right in. Up until this point, I was the youngest person in the neighborhood at 29, so having kids wander around is new for everyone. At first, it was no big issue, they stayed inside, got settled, maybe they were good kids. Total long shot, I know, but a girl can hope. So one morning I'm letting my horses out into the front pasture, a Clydesdale and a Welsh pony, and I hear the most high-pitched squealing from next door. It was so shrill my Clydesdale second-guessed going outside, but cautiously proceeded only to be met with more squeals. I popped my head out and the 2 girls are literally losing their minds. And I get it. Little white pony and the horse from Brave, but still, they're large animals they don't know so they should have the sense not to approach, right? Not a snowball's chance in hell. These kids sprint to the fence shrieking. The pony runs around in panic and the Clydesdale stands there with the same WTF look I've got on my face. Then the 4-year-old starts to go under the fence. Hell. No. Don't you dare climb under that fence. Said firmly, and admittedly kinda harsh, but I'll be damned if I have my horses mow over a kid. I walk over to them and they look like they're about to cry but I explain firmly that they are big animals and could hurt them easily and to never go over or under the fence. They go home, I clean the stalls. An hour and I hear someone banging on the door of my home and I can see through my barn's hatch door my mom and the kid's mom are having a conversation. The kid's mom then storms down to the barn. I've never met this lady but I know an entitled parent when I see one. The joy of joys. She starts going off on me, how dare you to make my kids cry, they just wanted to see the ponies, blah blah blah. But when she takes a breath I get my point across. Ma'am, your youngest was crawling under the fence towards 2 large animals that none of you know. That Clydesdale is a 2,000 pounds draft horse, he can literally crush you, not feel it, and do permanent damage. The pony looks cute but needs an experienced hand as he is very untrustworthy, flighty, and has a tendency to bite. Your children are not allowed near them without my consent and heavy supervision, and never allowed in the pasture with them, do you understand? She then starts ranting about, well, if they're so dangerous why do you have them? Are you even allowed to have them? I should call animal control. That crap. They're my personal horses, yes I'm allowed to have them. Your kids trespassed on my property, I'm trying to keep them safe. This is not a petting zoo. She huffs off, I continue work. Later that evening when the husband gets home I explained what happened. He's understandably alarmed and I explained how dangerous the situation is, he agrees. Not that my horses are aggressive mind you, but it's inherently dangerous in general. You've got a 50 to 200 pound human, versus an 800 to 2,000 pound horse. If you don't know what you're doing you can be seriously injured. Pure physics. So, I'm optimistic about his reaction, but I know he's often not home, so I stay cautious. Later in the next week, I'm working from home and I suddenly hear screaming. Not excited screaming, scared little kids screaming. I rush outside and the 4-year-old is bawling in the middle of the pasture with the pony doing laps around the perimeter of the fence as my Clydesdale slowly approaches the little girl. The 7-year-old is crying outside the fence and calling for her mom, but clearly, their mom is not watching them. My initial terror recedes a bit because my Clydesdale is essentially a golden retriever in a horse's body. Sweetest pushover in the world. He's gingerly approaching her in a slow, friendly way and being as non-threatening as he can. And with him so close the pony won't rush them. He's probably about 3 steps from her, but I yell for him to halt, and like a good boy he does. I make my way in with them and start asking the girl questions. Are you hurt? Being paramount, she's not, but she's clearly scared, so I pick her up and walk out, making my Clydesdale heel to me just in case the pony gets a dumb idea. The mom is still nowhere in sight, so I take them to my neighbors. What precedes are about 30 minutes of screaming and crying. The girl's mother was the one to open the door. She starts screaming at me and firing off questions before my neighbors intervene. I tell everyone exactly what happened, and my elderly neighbors blew up at her, not me. They screamed at her for being so irresponsible and negligent, how they could have been hurt. The mom tried throwing blame on me, but they weren't having it. My neighbors apologize profusely and I go about my day until the husband gets home. He came by and apologized too, for his family's behavior and especially the behavior of his wife. I accepted it and said I understood, they're little girls, to know the allure of magnificent fluffy horses. The mom was at fault for not watching the kids. I'm just glad everyone was okay. The girls were still really shaken up, so I extended an olive branch, because well, I was an overexcited kid who liked horses once too, just with a horse mom who knew what she was doing. And I didn't want this to completely traumatize them from being around horses. So the next day I properly introduced them to my Clydesdale, with him in his stall with the inside hatch open and the girls being supervised by their father and me. Safe in the barn. They loved it. Clydesdale loved the attention. Everyone's happy, right? Well, except the mom, who took my olive branch as an offer to teach them horseback riding, give free lessons, and other crap, but her husband shut it down hard, and presumably so did my neighbors. Since then it's been quiet. I did however install a second electrical wire on the bottom, not just on the top, just in case. And yes, they did test it. 7-year-old got zapped pretty good and got in trouble with her dad. Aside from that, there have been no incidents other than them wanting to pet them when I drop evening feed once in a while. Here's hoping it stays peaceful. But seriously, don't go up to animals you don't know. That was it for our first ever r/entitled parent story. Be sure to leave a like and comment on what you think about how OP handled the situation. Be sure to subscribe as I've got hundreds of other stories coming soon, ranging from stories of entitled people, pro-revenge stories, HOA horrors, and much more that I'll be uploading daily. Thanks for watching, see you guys soon.